In reality, only a select few individuals hold the power of influence. Not a pounce over a luxury item never to be owned, but real influence over police, governments, and even clandestine fraternities. My true story is so controversial that I invite you to comment and even question my integrity. Episode 26, Great Expectations. Now, I think it's worth saying to you that at this exact moment in time, on the 30th of June 2025, the day I'm recording this, I'm actually sitting in Wimbledon on the first day of the championships and in a little place that overlooks court number 1. It's funny, isn't it? How things turn around. A little place that used to be my sanctuary and has become again, where I come away and carry out some business, as you're about to hear. But anyway, I'm about to get to that later on. In the meantime, I just thought it would be interesting to let you know how relevant these things are. Back to my story. I was quite distant that week. I remember it well. And as Friday come round, I felt just as uneasy as I had the previous times. I knew, however, though, if I cancelled with Adele just one more time, I'd never know what I might have had with her. Daydreaming, convincing myself to go through with it. After all, nothing ventured, nothing gained and all that. And what is so special about Adele? Is it the hunt? Is it just, I really want to be with her? What is it about her? I don't know what it is. Masculinity, the chase, the hunt, whatever it may be. I was there. I'd been down to South Hills and bought a bottle of tequila, lemons, salt, and 2 small shot glasses before cycling back down Church Road and into the Wimbledon Club. It was early, and as I entered the sports hall around the back of the club, it was almost in pitch darkness. There's nothing there. The only things that are there, they're obviously the court, the nets, and the heavy green floor-to-ceiling curtains at the end of each of the hall, and the bare blockwork in between. A few wooden chairs and a single table between them. So I placed my bag down on the chair and sat out and messed around, placing the tequila and the salt and the shots and all the rest of it. Then I covered it with a small towel, tea towel thing. It was about 1:55 in the afternoon and Adele hadn't turned up, and I just thought, I bet she's just tricking me, giving me a lesson, but not a tennis lesson. And as the thought crossed my mind, I heard a buzz from the coded lock on the door entrance to the sports hall. She arrived. Hello? I heard a voice coming through the door. This was the tennis coach. Hi, Darren, have you taken this call now? Yes, I replied. So he turned around and left. As the door closed, I wondered if I was really going to be left there, learning my lesson, as it were. Before too long, the lock was buzzing again, as I heard the door close behind. This time it was Adele, who entered the hall, flustered and nervous. I'm so sorry I'm late, she began. I've had a team looking over my place this morning as he's renting it out for the tennis championships again. I thought that you might think I wasn't going to turn up and leave. No, I said, what made you think that? Come on. Anyway, she took off her tracksuit top and was about to begin in her leggings before I lifted the towel. And I said, look, how about to us, to tennis? Grinning away, it's like a Cheshire cat. Ah, tequila, she said. Smiling, she took the glass, shocked, looking around a bit, and encouraged whilst we touched the glasses. Cheers. She was a little nervous, out of her comfort zone, and as the first game ended, I thought to play an accompanying game of my own. Have you ever played tequila tennis before? I asked. No. Looking like she knew I was playing up. Great. Let me show you how we do it. She's playing along. So we both went over to the table again, took another glass, and the alcohol was soon taking effect. We were relaxed and reminded about why we were there. I could see and feel that she looked at me, that she was wondering whether she could go through it. My heart was the same, but I was in. I was on. Tequila flowing, in the mood. Adele in front of me. Locked door. Tennis court. However, we played along and had another game. Now look, I've mentioned it before. Adele was petite, blonde, shoulder-length hair, attractive, fit, cute, and strangely enough, can match any man drink for drink. That is when she's allowed to. She was often told when we were sitting in the bar in the Wimbledon Club how much she could drink by her controlling partner. It was embarrassing. He'd fill her glass a little bit, toppies right up, right to the brim. Anyway, look, I forget all that. It's not the reason why. It's just a reminder of how some women can be treated. I'm looking for an excuse or something. I don't know. I didn't need one. She was in the mood. I could see her at the top of the court. We both were. And when the next game ended, she began walking towards me, expecting to take another sip. And instead of pouring one, I thought, I'm going to keep her teased. Hang on, 2 games before the next one. And if you beat me, you're going to get something else. She looked surprised. And now she was really smiling, ran back to the top of the court, picked up the balls. And she was now playing as many games as I could invent. And we're having just a lot of fun. It was funny, my game improved. Well, it had to. Like, she was determined to make me sweat. She was pushing me all around the court, running me ragged, just absolutely on fire. Or tequila and on fire, whichever. She was on fire. Then she came over to me, smiling, jogging up to the net. I'm ready. Then we met at the table. I poured her another glass and handed it to her. How about a small kiss with the next one? It's customary, in tennis and tequila to have a little kiss. She just laughing away and leant forward for a gentle, solitary kiss. She then leant back, took off her leggings, changed it into a short tennis skirt, which was underneath. Down the tequila, salt, lemon, ran back to the court. Now she's teasing me. We only had about an hour together in the court on that day, and she was due to get home, to get dressed and attend the Wimbledon ball that evening at, I think it was Hotel Divan, Canazaro or somewhere else. Another tequila, another kiss, each time lasting a little longer. We looked up at the clock, 45 minutes had passed, and we'd nearly finished the whole bottle, and played a few games of tennis as well. I wanted to make sure she got home in time, and she didn't look too upset, although she was hiding, I guess, sort of waiting there for me. I picked up the balls and hit 3 or 4 of them into the curtains at the back of the court. I said, come on, we go and collect them. And as we walked upwards along the court, she was looking all around as if there was CCTV or something in there, which there wasn't. I threw the curtains around us, so we were closed into a very small area, just enough to keep us both squeezed tightly together. We made the most of our remaining time and just all over each other. I heard the buzzer. The next player was about to come in. We stopped immediately, sweating, adjusting our clothing, pushed the curtains back and walked back along the court, bright red, flustered. Would you like to have one more drink with me at the bar? I said to her. She said, yeah, I don't want to go out tonight. I want to stay with you, she said. Look, Adele was the local sweetheart of Wimbledon. She knew everyone. I know that being alone at this club with another man, that would definitely turn some heads. Even though she played with many other men, I'm sure of it. After 4 or 5 drinks at the bar and twice as many texts or missed calls, and then in came one of the Wimbledon club's members, the former British #1 Buster Mottram. He sat down and had no idea what was going on. Adele soon left for home. I called her Uber, as she had to go to the ball where she was being demanded to go. That's fair enough, I suppose. I bought Buster a few drinks and we sat chatting about the home club. And then I left for home. I'll never forget our plan to chat the following day, and I stood on the terrace outside the tennis club and called her while she took a spare office at her place of work at Ernst Young in London Bridge. We were both excused our behaviour, joking and saying, sorry, we won't let that happen again, knowing it was going to go off. I asked her to let me know which days of the week were convenient for her to meet. She replied that she could arrange to meet with me at my place anytime. And when I say anytime, and it's the reason for the intro, I mean here, where I am today. If I was to spin round and look along the hall, the bedroom where we met and continued to meet. Each day she would arrive around midday, having completed all of her tasks and covering off all of her 9 or 10 or 11 PAs working underneath her. Each day she would walk through the door and we would just rip each other to pieces and stay in bed all afternoon, 3, 4, 5 hours. Before 5 to 5, I never forget the time. Then I'd call a cab or a cab waiting downstairs to run her a short trip along aside the common, Wimbledon Common, into Wimbledon Village and outside of her penthouse apartment. I only live along the road. The relationship flourished. We talked, obviously, and planned to go on holiday together, and she asked, we both agreed, I can't say she asked, we both agreed that there was a potential to live together after her return from a Christmas vacation. Now, look, I fully appreciate what she was trying to give up. I'd say that now, and I don't suppose I do, really, because she had an amazing life to a degree. If you like going out and socialising and friends and this and that, she had a wonderful life. The thing that she was missing was a respectful partner. And not to say that Mary didn't respect her in certain things, but, when he was out, you behave like an arsehole. You treat her like shit. It's not my deal, but I don't like people to treat her like shit. It's just not my thing. When it's necessary, yes, you have to do what you got to do, but She was just a woman being a woman, and a man sitting there, no, you can only have this drink, and in front of people, just fucking horrendous, you know what I mean? It pissed me off, I must say it. It wasn't the driving force for Mario to be just forgotten about when taking his woman from him. None of it was. Just pure lust. Sorry about that. But that's what it is. Anyway, Adele planned to visit her friends on holiday. She left for a month over Christmas, 2018. We would contact each other every now and then, and text and this and that. I decided to kill some of the time out outside the family by taking B out shopping for some presents. We went to Westfield at Shepherd's Bush and then on to Oxford Street. And I was walking next door and she jumped in the air screaming, "Juicy Couture, is that really juicy? I love their stuff." And thought the store had closed anyway. She ran across the road into Juicy Couture. I had to chase her in there. She was flicking through it. I thought, she's a young girl. I thought she was about 20. You know what I mean? The way she was going through things. I don't know if it's instinct or what it is about shopping with women. They're just born with it. You know what I mean? Your baby walking into a shop, pick up something to try. In women, it's in them. Straight. And my daughter was no different. Everyone was still talking about the home club, and even though I had most of the brand ambassadors leaving, and things a little bit up in the air to a certain degree, I started thinking, should I write my story? This story, should I write it down? How do I go about it? I'm not a writer. I can't do it. I'm a talker. I can talk it. Hopefully it's coming through okay. Writing's not my deal. But I thought, fuck it, how am I going to do this? I want to get this out. I want to fucking tell people about my story. It's a mad whole fucking story. It's a different story. I think so. Anyway, I designed a home club magazine. Became quite good with creating magazines, using Publisher and other tools through MS Word. And I set out the document, the design magazine platform issue. As soon as the feature went live, I received an email from a Mr. Andrew Gillett, solicitor at Jarman Solicitors based in Sittingbourne. Now, this was the same solicitors firm where Nicola Manning was, who was my senior brand ambassador at the home club. She's gone. Now, the content of the letter is best summarised as a threat, in that if I continue to post the names of the 13 brand ambassadors and associates in my online publication, then I'd be sued. Come sue me. Come sue me now. Ready for you. Anyway, I passed it off and thought these just fucking idiots just giving it large. But I got the sense that something was behind them. Someone was, because these people got no arsehole. They're not going to come at me and give it away. No one does. They just hide behind the old builder filth. That's one, or the government, that's two. Think they've got a bit of confidence about it. They're not really going to come at me on their own. Not unless they think they've got some backing. And even then, I'll fucking deal with them. Normally, people who come out of the woodwork and start giving it large, people who think they've got something behind them, giving them a bit of confidence. It was no different with these idiots. Anyway, this was the beginning of another journey with another group that I hadn't suspected may well be against me. Now, over the years, not only when investigating my brother's case, but magnets, a family case, I'm picking up on various areas of law, contract, criminal, family, all sorts of different things, give me an understanding. I'm not a lawyer, I don't know law, I'm an entrepreneur, and so I look at it on face value, and it's about evidence. That's the bare essentials, really. What I'd also been dealing with was conspiracy. Big word, I've said it before. Again, come see me if you have any doubts. So I started reflecting on the outcomes of my previous trial, and disclosure was a major factor, or lack of it. I had copies of all the emails between the complainants against me, Clark, Jameson, Wilkinson, Bushra, and all the rest of it. Even though Budworth wouldn't put them in, and the judge refused to make any reference to any of them, or the content of any of them, summing up. She mentioned their emails. Well, of course they were. There's emails. Had she said, here's an email, they were all colluding and getting their heads together because they didn't have a case against Darren, so they went down the criminal route, as was in the emails, then yes, I'd have walked out the fucking door. She didn't say that. Budworth didn't say that. Stimson, afraid of that, threatened Budworth and changed the indictment. Changed an indictment. Do you realise how serious that is? To guarantee a conviction, confuse the jury. Anyway, we're going to get to that as well. Let's keep going here. So Gillett was acting for about 6 or 7 of them. So they'd come together. So he was the collusion again. It was collusion again. Second time round. Well, come on. What are the chances? What are the odds? Every time I go forward and do something worth value, which changes my life, puts me in a better living condition and supports my family, potentially paying lawyers to fight a conspiracy case, and the fucking wireless that's coming. The corruption extends. People are rounded up. How do you round people up? How do you go that down the street? Yo, excuse me, mate, would you like to come fucking get hold of this fucking geezer and put him in jail? Or their family No. These people are part of a group. A very big group. Do you remember Operation Westminster? Have you got that yet? Do you know who it is? Who's Operation Westminster? Who, based in Westminster, is part of a group so large that it covers half the world? Who meets on a Friday? Or their friend? I'm going too far now, no? To cover a case so big, with alleged gangsters, police, judges, lawyers. It's part of the same thing, isn't it? They would never come at us normally. Fuck no, they know they wouldn't. We're fucking worried about none of them. But if they think they've got a bit of confidence, or they're part of a huge, secret group, nudge, nudge, you there yet? Anyway, the reason I reveal some of it now, because the associated group to this are even more powerful than that. Anyway, fun times were about to begin. Adele would come home from her holidays, tanned, full of beans. So I took her for lunch at the former tea house on Tower Bridge, Pont de la Tour, French cuisine restaurant. Had an amazing lunch, overlooking Tower Bridge, champagne, cocktails, oysters, and a rare port wine to top off the meal. Now, she had to return to work before we met again that evening at the Ivy Cafe in Wimbledon Village, still there now on the corner. Now, I had also planned a meeting with someone at the Ned, who was a former expert in Fabergé joinery and fine art. After a couple of further drinks, and we carried on all of the intricacies of the marketing to luxury brands for the home club. And I said I'd consider. And the home club didn't really need any PR. The word was out. It wasn't something I was bursting around with on social media. It's the opposite of that. I left the Ned and went down to the Ivy Cafe in a cab. I met up with Adele and her friends. She was very almost ring fence, standing alone with this invisible security around her. All her friends were there, eager to say hello. I was first introduced to Sandra Strachan, who claimed to be Lady Wimbledon. Fucking hell, not another fucking Lady Wimbledon, Lady Brocklebank, Lord Buckmaster. Fucking hell, I'm connecting to some people in peerage here, aren't I? I was then photographed with Wimbledon's darling magazine's editor, Catherine Saw, who was a close friend of Adele's. Catherine was lovely, open, a real person. We spoke for a while, and as I looked over, Adele was kind of looking out of her eye. As I turned to catch her gaze, she gave me a smile and a can't wait till tomorrow look, which I reciprocated. The evening ended with a parting yet lingering kiss on both of Adele's cheeks, and I left for the following day. I needed some people to help me with this HMRC stuff. So I had to stop my world coming to a crashing ending. And you can imagine already I've lost all my brand ambassadors, with none of them are talking. None of them. They're not talking to me, and they're not talking, it appears, to each other. Or are they? Are they similarly emailing each other behind the scenes? I mean, come on. It's something else, wouldn't it? The police and government concocting another... No, they wouldn't do it. Would they do that? Do you think the police... Would you honestly... Me? Holmes database? Terrorist. Alleged crime family boss. Whatever bollocks they're making up. It's absolutely untrue. Anyway, I thought, fuck it. Let me go and find a lawyer. Yeah, fucking think yourself, why would you do that stupid thing then? Well, I needed one. You know, and there had to be one. There's got to be a fucking one kosher fucking lawyer in this country. There's got to be. Come on, surely. Come on, is there? There is. Let's try one. Come on, fuck it, let's try one. I went on Google. Let's go Google, right? Let's go Google. That'll make it even more random. So I found a firm, highly regarded London law firm, Shepherd and Wedderburn, LLP, at St Paul's in the city of London. Called them up, spoke with Douglas Campbell, took all my legal papers, and along with his colleague, Ben Pilbrow, asked me to meet at their London offices to discuss matters. Now, you know, when these lawyers, I don't know if you've dealt with them or not, but they do what they call due diligence. They take your name, take the opponent's name, check them all out, check your opponents are not currently clients of theirs. All these things, they check out lots of different things. Due diligence, they call it. So they've got my name, they've got the opponents, the defendants, and we're all meeting up in their boardroom. Due diligence done. Check, check. Now I left that meeting, and I thought, that's a fucking good firm. That's a good firm. The following day, I got an email from him. Quote, Darren, it was good to see you yesterday and speak to you on the phone this morning. I hope it's worthwhile from your perspective to talk the various issues through. Since our discussion this morning, a conflict has arisen, and it seems that we have a commercial conflict with Russell Dalgleish, because I believe he runs a network with which our corporate department is involved. On that basis, I think we probably aren't able to prepare a letter of claim for you in this instance. I'm sorry that we couldn't help you, either in securing funding in relation to the letter of claim. It was great to meet you, and if we can be of any help in the future, please let me know. Equally, I'm happy to introduce you to some of my colleagues in corporate, property, or other departments, if that would be useful for your various business ventures. Now, why the fuck am I going to mention anything to this guy who's got a conflict? He's told me he's got a conflict. Why am I going to entrust in him a connection? How did they miss that? I went back to him and asked him what the conflict was. Darren, he replied, quote, the organisation is called the Scottish London Business Network, and we periodically host events for the mayor office. Now, unquote, let's stop that there. This is not just a fucking usual, is it? This is it's a big network. It's not just one person. They're hosting events from it. I mean, they're not an events company, they're a law firm. So they would know, wouldn't they? Would they know? They go to events with London, Scottish London, but anyway, right. It doesn't get any better. I'll read on. Quote, neither Ben nor I had heard of Russell or Michael, and neither of us have been involved in the Scottish Business Network. I reviewed our systems when you had sent only the high-level details, but in relation to MJB only, Morris J. Bushell. It was only when going through the entire papers that I came across their names, though they did not mean anything to me until yesterday. I thought you may have an ongoing relationship with Russell and Michael, so a claim against them would not be an option. Unquote. It's all bollocks, isn't it, eh? I mentioned them from the fucking outset. They were the main characters in this fucking nonsense. Why would I mention Henry Goldstein? He didn't fucking little to do with it. These are the main characters. I mentioned them from front, and the fucking front of the cover's got their name all over it. Absolute bollocks. When you think about it, if you were to try and fucking put a number to this, the chances of, what are the chances of this? All these things happening. Head down now. Now I can hear the words. It may have been hovering in stealth, but now it's here. I can hear its reverberation, a missile building in the distance coming down for me. I need to be quick. I need to work this shit out before I get fucking terminated. I went to another breakfast with the Lord Mayor, the Right Honourable Charles Bowman, who was then the Lord Mayor of the City of London. And whilst I was there, I was on another table. I was on his table. I was sitting to another businessman, whose name's Sean. I was having a chat. We exchanged business cards. And for that event, I took Adele along with me so that we could travel back to Wimbledon together for the rest of the afternoon in bed. I went with many people at the City Giving Day breakfast and arranged to meet up with Sean Taylor for lunch at the 1776 restaurant in Lombard Street on the 12th of February 2018. Whilst we were discussing my background, the fraud conviction and the home club, that he mentioned he'd previously been trained at Sandhurst Royal Military Academy. I thought, okay. So I decided to ask him whether he knew anything about Buckmaster Brown. As Buckmaster Brown, remember, also claimed to be from a long line of military leaders and fucking officer at Sandhurst and all that. Sean said he'd find out for me and send me an email with his details. Anyway, as time went on, I had several expressions of interest from people working for well-respected concierge and lifestyle companies. I had Jeremy Sutton, a member who left Quintessentially to form his own company, as had many others. I then met with Julie Benjamini, who had a role at Quintessentially and the head of corporate accounts in Russia and managing director of the lifestyle team in Azerbaijan. We met at the Wimbledon Club and we talked through things, and I met with people throughout. I continued to meet with people. I met people at different hotels. I met with Mr. Cesco Righetti, who's the finance director at the time of Bulgari Hotel in Knightsbridge, and many others. The thing was that people at these hotels were much more lavish than the private members' clubs, and they wanted a place for the home club in their hotel. That's where I was going with it. I didn't tell anyone, but that's where I was going with it. These hotels had multiple hotels attached, different views, different nights, rather than being the old, yet beautiful, stagnant, free Georgian houses in Portland Place. Lovely places, well designed. But I found them when I spoke to other members, they were getting bored of the same old shit. But they're bored of other clubs as well, equally well decorated. That was the problem with the private members club, the physical stuff. That's why one of the reasons I decided to invent this home club, where you could be online, creating social media, communicating constantly, as people were with Facebook and etc. at the time, and Instagram. Have the benefits of the events in different places, in these hotels and other places. Cesco invited me to meet his wife, Flavia Bruzzi Righetti, at the Franklin Hotel, which was one of those that she was running for a family in Florence. Things were just ticking along, I felt, and I was pleased to receive an email from Sean. He reacted quickly. The contents were intriguing. Quote, Darren, there is no record of anyone of that name commissioning at Armas on a regular course. And we've also checked the Army lists 1983 to 1999. Buckmaster. Easy name to check, you'll appreciate. We also checked just plain Brown. Now, there was an MP Brown, commissioned into the TA signals on the 23rd of May 1995. But it seems a bit old at 30. Of course, could have enlisted under a slightly different name or had a ACF commission. My gut feeling, however, says probably not commissioned and certainly not a regular, unquote. And what Sean was suggesting was Michael was not an officer in the military at Sandhurst Military Academy, and I'd been hoodwinked. Is that what he's saying? No, Michael had been convincing. And, there was the other thing, May Sim Lay, the connected introducer. She'd introduced us. She's no fool. There were Black Rod, there was, all sorts of people there talking to her. No, it's just, what is it? Fucking brains going round. The other thing was he looked like Sir Winston Churchill a little bit. I know, you could probably think, this doesn't go down to much, but all of it did. Now, is this another case of a fake name being used, in the same way that Scott and Kerry Jameson and Jeremy Poyes, remember, they were all using their middle names whilst in contract using a different name, all at the same time, in the last case against me. Anyway, it was Valentine's Day. I put this shit out of my head. Adele had planned to meet me for the whole day. I bought flowers, champagne, some fine food, and was going to cook for her and enjoy the whole day together. Now, when she arrived, I could see she'd been crying. Are you all right? I said. And as I went to her hug, she sort of pushed me back. Oh, no, it's not all right, she went. She was sobbing into her hands until she was ready to explain more. Mario has booked us a surprise Valentine's trip, and I've got to leave with him at 3 o'clock today. She's crying her fucking eyes, bursting uncontrollably. And I could see she was genuinely upset. It wasn't no bullshit, like just a black, if it was fucking on stage, put her on stage. But other things, I know Adele, she's a decent enough person, lovely person. She wouldn't pretend, she was genuinely upset. But what she knew was the potential outcome of her revelation, as did I. I turned around and said, look, what can I say? And she looked at me as if to say, fucking hell. She knew I knew. Now, look, I'm trying to be as honest as I can. I am being as honest as I can, and what I meant by that was, should I add the things I was thinking at the time? Why not? Why not tell you? Because when looking back, I gave no real consideration for her feelings. That was the honest bit, or trying to be honest bit I was referring to. Why should I mention that? Further, I felt upset for her. I was disappointed for myself, but I focused on my own feelings rather than hers. There's the honesty. There's the full honesty. She turned her, looked up to me, sobbing away. I'll never forget the look on her face. So that's it, I guess, then, is it? I just paused and looked at her, really, genuinely weighing up. Should I just overcome? Let's just sort of fuck it. She ain't going to Mario. She's not interested in Mario. I know that. But she's got to go through all this, otherwise she's going to light everyone up. But I continued to say nothing. So she ran out. She ran out out the apartment, down the stairs. The door slammed, fucking shut, like a cell door, locking me into my own fucking thoughts and feelings. I took a few steps forward, grabbed the lock, threw the door back, caught it before it slammed against the wall. But I thought better of it. I didn't chase her. I knew it wasn't her fault. I just left it there, closed the door back, turned the lock, sat inside and drank what was left of the champagne, thinking about what might have been with Adele. The following day I had mid-morning tennis match and the afternoon meeting at the tennis club with a new contact. Now the tennis club was going to be a bit different, wasn't it? This was the thing I was trying to avoid in the beginning. I met with a journalist, Shaima Pereira. She said she had connections and brought an old social, not an old social, like a socialite of experience, let's say, and an old money connector, Mrs. Joe Stoller, to meet with me. She wanted to bring her contacts in and all the rest of it. Anyway, as we're talking, Joe Stoller was, relaxed and casual, and she didn't need to give it. She had all of the charms, all of the experience, all the knowledge. Whilst Shaima was just fucking large in it. And as I was sitting there quiet, she took it for fucking weakness. She started giving it large. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do another fucking Mark Moody. Shaima Moody fucking cracking on. You know what I mean? So she even started fucking telling me that I was going to go on a date with Sugar Kent's daughter. That would be great PR. She said, I thought, fucking, what is she doing? What is she fucking playing at? Anyway, Joe wasn't able to fucking give any comment, really. He told me about a Rolls-Royce ship from A to B or something else. And another funny story. And that was it. As they both left, I was sat in a cold but sunny early evening, looked across the tennis courts where Adele and I had first met, reminiscing and looking, remember the virtual game she gave me after the hand on chest and reminding me what I might have missed. And I was missing it. I was about to miss it a lot more as well. The Hemis, the white parties, the mayor's ball, the restaurants, the bars, the clubs I took her to. The fun, the games, the bedroom, antics. steamy days, afternoons in bed together, hours on end. It was all over. I couldn't have been more surprised then to receive a call from her. I'm going to leave him. I'm going to leave Mary. I've made my mind up. I've had enough. I want to be with you. You know, I didn't thought that was going to happen. The last thing I thought was going to happen. Look, I've got a close friend who lives in Wimbledon, and she's told me I can have their room, a spare room, until I can get myself sorted out. Fucking hell, she's serious. She's going to fucking come out of her penthouse where she is fucking the talk of the town, the fucking Miss Beckham, the princess of fucking Wimbledon, let's say. Fucking rough it in a room so she can be with me. Fucking hell, she means it. Shit. We met up, and it was like, you'd imagine, it was fierce. Just fucking fierce, and we ripped each other apart. And it went past 5 to 5, and 5 to 6, and 5 to 9, and 5 to fucking midnight, and she fucking just stayed with me. She did go back, 2 o'clock in the morning. She got absolutely ripped to pieces for it. So out of character. She was always in at 5 to 5, other than when allowed out. I then received the call from my mum, just to fucking bring me back to some kind of fucking reality. I think you better pop round and see this, Dal. Now, I already knew in those words she'd found something important. My mum could find anything about anyone. But I wasn't quite prepared for exactly what she'd discovered. I arrived at my mum's home, was greeted sitting in a dark, tan leather boardroom chair. She turned round and looked at her 50-inch television monitor, and I stood behind her, peering over her shoulder, just to catch a glimpse of what she might have found on the screen. When she said, "Look, it's down there," pointing a finger at a beige-coloured document on the table on her desk. And as I looked down, I could see it was a marriage certificate. On that certificate was the name Michael Philip Buckmaster Brown. I picked up the corner of the paper and took a closer look. As I did, my mum placed her finger on the detail she wanted to show me. "Look, it's right there," she said. "It's even closer." And I could see under the part labelled rank or profession was the title Lord of Ashcliffe. "Ah, so he is a Lord in peerage then," I said. "Well, I can't confirm that yet," my mum replied, "but I've spoken to the House of Lords, Berks and Depret's peerage, and even the Ashcliffe estate." "Yeah? None of them have ever heard of him." "What do you mean?" "I don't know, but I've just sent for his birth certificate." I was then shown a spreadsheet and an online family tree builder with his ancestry, going back to the 1700s, which my mum had created from a single piece of information. "Oh," she continued, "you might also be interested to know that Russell Dalglish's first name isn't Russell. Instead, his first name is Douglas Russell Dalglish." Fuck. This is exactly what was happening with Cock and Jameson and Wilkinson. They're using their middle names. These are moody fuckers. The Wurlitzer, the bomb's getting closer. Fucking gonna take fucking flight right into the middle of me in a minute. We're waiting on Buckmaster's birth certificate, and you already know that Douglas Russell Dalglish is not Russell Dalglish. Yes, he is, but he uses his middle name as his first name. Fucking hell. What's going on here? And they got in a contract with me in my business? Yeah. Using the wrong name? Yeah. Same as before? Yeah. Alright, I'm fucking gonna get fucking terminated soon. Now, it's unlikely. We weren't there yet, but it's unlikely that Buckmaster wasn't a lord, as this Ashcliffe estate denied it, any knowledge of him. And we had the email from Sean's to say that this Michael Philip Buckmaster Brown wasn't in the military. In fact, there was an MP Brown, most likely Michael Philip, who was a regular, basically. He wasn't a fucking officer at Sandhurst. It's all starting to stack up, these fake fuckers put together to fuck me up. Then we checked the long line of aristocrats that Buckmaster had mentioned. His family tree. I mean, Churchill's trees are easy to see. You can find it anywhere. You go back in centuries. This was a lord trap. A fake lord with a big trap. How big I hadn't it to fucking work out. Bit extended. Remember, all my clients stopped working with me with Tom Clark in the fraud case. Here, all my brand ambassadors stopped having anything to do with me. What was the connection that knitted them together? What was the Operation Westminster? Masonic? Yes, it was. Let's say it's fucking Masonic. United Grand Lodge of England is in Westminster. How else can you control the minds and hearts of the many? The many, unless you have power over them. Such an organisation as the Masons. But what I was dealing with, that was far more than the Masons. I was touched on by the Illuminati, you know that, when I went out to the fucking golf course. this is such a big story. It's got so many fucking high-profile people in it that are corrupt that it's taken Operation Westminster to try and cover it. And that goes all the way to the very, very, very top. The top. Fuck me, I thought. What about City AM? Hang on. Let's get a reality check. City AM. He said he had a contract with him. I could try and find out about that. And if he has, I mean, you try and dismiss the fact that you got half of him wrong already. You're looking for things that are right now to try and fucking, it's not to make yourself look stupid, it's to fucking give yourself a fucking reality check. All I needed to do now was to take Michael and Russell to court for breach of contract. And with all this going on and, you know, the break, when you break with someone, it does something, you know. Yeah, you can get back together and sometimes it works for many years after. You need a little flush out of the system. The things that you're not understanding about each other to get your heads back together to carry on and make something. But in this case, it didn't. For me, once breaking up, it was fucking gone. And after a period of less and less seeing of Adele, we just put it into it. The thing was, though, that I knew I needed to fucking stop playing a tennis club. She was misbehaving, behaving strangely, sort of being overly interested in marriage, as if to kind of ward me off, which I get, I didn't mind that. It's a bit strange, but I got used to it. And kind of pull herself back to the established part of the Wimbledon babe that she was, basically. There's no doubt about it. As these things are moving up speed, the Wurlitzer, you can hear it, can't you? Can you hear that? You must be able to hear it's loud now. It's getting louder. Still in the distance, but louder. I was then contacted by Mark Abraham from an organisation called the Nth Degree, which is a private dining club owned by Bob Wharton, Robert Wharton, MBE, who was also the president of the Restaurant Association of Great Britain. So I met with Mark at the Ned, and he made a beeline and saying to me that he was a boxer. I don't know if that was a form of self-defence, but, you know, he had to put it out there for some reason. I said, great, good luck, mate, you're doing well. He then showed me his mobile phone so I could watch a secret recorded video of a Middle Eastern prince's tiger being walked on a lead through the room. And again, this was a red flag. I mean, like, you know, fucking hell, you know, you're showing people secret videos of a prince of a royal family's fucking house and he's showing his private tiger or whatever it was. You're filming it in secret. Fucking can't be trusted, can you? I left him and went down to the Arts Club on Dover Street to meet with Bob. I then went on to Camper and Nicholson's International Yacht Club, builder and charter. It's funny, you know, you fucking LinkedIn, you know what I mean? It's fucking, you're always so careful. I'm still going out to different events and stuff, and I had a message from someone on LinkedIn called Daniela Dragas, investment banker from Newport Beach in Southern California. Another one, Dan Benham, security specialist. Fucking GDPR, data protection and compliance. Fucking all right, let's meet these fuckers. I met with Daniela, or planned to meet with Daniela, in the Botanist at Sloane Square. One evening when she came back to the UK to meet her family in Birmingham. Now, her family come from Birmingham, she claims to be a Sloaney. Sloaney, as in Sloane Ranger, as in living, growing up, fucking around in Chelsea, Knightsbridge, Sloaney, Sloane Street, Sloane Ranger, Brummy Ranger, no, Sloane Ranger. Okay. Now, every couple of weeks I'd meet up with Dan as well at the little Coat Brasserie restaurant next to the Botanist. Now, I mentioned my business and my issues with the home club's previous team, and Dan said to me, look, I do other types of detective work, you know. It's almost a hello at the end of it. I thought, oh no, fuck it, old Bill, what's the fucking wrong? And I didn't smell this gun. Nobody can get a whiff of fucking 1,000 paces, but this one's fucking slipped the net. He must be fucking good. Now, have you had all of your home club members checked out? I can do that for a fee. I sat there and I thought, what the fuck would I want to give up details of the members of my club for? So you can fucking go and check them all out, fucking look into them. Who's this cunt getting into me? Copper. Once a copper, always a copper. You might be doing GDPR and data protection. You're still old Bill, you're fucking wrong. Anyway, after breakfast, I walked across the road and met with another contact who wanted to meet up, Miss Sherry Roberts. Now, she was an interior designer at the longest stay based in Chelsea. We sat and discussed the home club and how I might help her win residential building projects in South West London, how I had the data still on the property planning permissions, and I thought to give her a leg up. So I went back to her studio where I met with her Italian business partners and building contractors, and then on to meet with Tessa Herman and Laura Rosinska at the Colbert Bistro. As I was walking along the fucking King's Road, You won't believe it. As I'm walking on, I'm getting closer and closer. I'm walking on the right-hand side towards Sloane Square. As I'm getting all about John Lewis's, just about John Lewis opposite road, side of the road on the left, I fucking looked up and I've seen fucking Mario outside a menswear store called Boggy Milano. He was carrying a couple of designer shopping bags. All right, mate, he said. I thought, fucking hell. What are you up to? He said, oh, nothing, just buying myself some clothes. I thought, yeah, that's about right. You buy fucking a deal. Fuck off. Fucking fuck. Seriously, didn't he fucking buy a little off fuck all? It's a charge of rent, actually, for a fucking staying in his penthouse. He bought the penthouse, he charged her fucking rent. Strange, isn't it? Life partner. I thought, look, let's fucking see what's going to go on here. There's a lot of fucking strange things going on here. I don't know why all these people are rocking up and turning up and being invited and all these fucking name changes and all this game. Right, let's see if I can fucking, work my way out of this one. I said, look, why don't you come and have a couple of drinks with me in the Colbert and meet my next 2 appointments? So we sat there, we drank champagne, and he come across Adele. So he said, seen Adele much? To me, I thought, it's just fucking plot. They're going to get me to have a fucking tear up, nick me, fucking, you know how it goes, right? Run me down and put me away, and fucking, that's me. Then they'll bring the other lot in and fuck, you know how it goes. I thought, although I knew he was fishing, obviously he's right, I fucking met with Adele a little while ago. I just laughed it off. So he said to me, look, quote, almost quote, but words to this effect, that whilst I've got the British girl at the party, Adele's not on my exact level. That's what he said. I thought, you're fucking wrong. Fucking far smarter than you, silly guy. Anyway, and I really need someone of my equal to settle down with. I thought, if you did, you'd be a fucking monster. You fucking do deserve to meet someone who's fucking level. Be a fucking right cranky monster to fucking settle down with. Anyway, as he went on explaining, he said, I'm on those, those dating websites, mate. I've been out with a few women and that, fucking, blah, blah. I said, oh, yeah, right. What ones are they then? Like the fucking millionaire ones and all that, where you get the young birds and young Russians and all that. So, oh, right, yeah, good luck, mate. Sweet. As we were laughing along, thinking it's a load of fucking bar banter, he's still fishing for fucking information. So we stayed there, the Colbert drinking, more champagne, and then all of a sudden, fucking Tessa and Laura come in. We both knew each other. Now, Laura told me of an event she was attending the same evening, so she couldn't stay long. And I told him about my meeting at the Botanist with Daniela. So we finished our drinks, we crossed Sloane Square and arrived at the Botanist, where Daniela was waiting at the bar. It's fucking liberty what she said anyway. So she's turned around, Tessa's turned around and she's gone, fuck me. She's gone, you meeting her? I said, yeah. She went, she must be fucking 70. You fucking can't say that. Can't say she looks 70. She don't look a bit much of it. Fucking don't look 70. You can't say that anyway. Fucking mean girls, we watching them sniggering around, fucking bitching and fucking take a piss out of Danielle. I said, hey, come on, girl, I don't even know you, You fucking take a piss out of someone I'm meeting up with. Whilst I don't know her as well, fucking gets a liberty. So they shut up. And Mario and I just fucking cracked on where we left off. We included Daniela into the conversation, ordered more champagne. It was a Friday night at the Botanist in Sloane Square, and as fucking is so often the case, I look round and fucking Mario's chatting to an Italian girl and her mum. Now at first I couldn't make out which she was hitting on, whether it was the mum or the girl. Fucking as I went over, it became more clear that he was obviously interested in the younger one of the two. Daniela and I chatted a bit more, and she had to leave for Birmingham, Brummy or wherever. She had to leave to go back to Birmingham or Brum or wherever where she was staying. Even though we were at the fucking height of Sloaney, she's got to fuck off to Birmingham to stay Sloaney. So look, I made a couple of jokes and had a chat to Danielle and fucking made her feel a bit better about it. I think she overheard the comment. It wasn't fucking right. All of a sudden, I felt someone slip up beside me. I turned around, this fucking youthful looking chick sitting standing next to me, done up, fucking good looking bird. I think her name was Annabelle or something. She told me she was a lawyer, or she could have been a model. She's fucking lovely looking thing. So I said, look, come join us. Like, we're going to go on after to the place called Brinkley's restaurant in Chelsea and all that. So we did, and we, we had a good time together. Mario was going on to a club, and he started chatting to some fucking random guy at the bar, trying to organise something. The next thing, we're all organised to all fucking go to a private club somewhere off the King's Road, on a back street. And after a couple more hours and even more drinks, Mario and I left in an Uber, stopping off, as is traditional, at the Kebab Kid takeaway in Fulham, on the Fulham Road. It was my drop first, right? Because Mario lived a little further down, obviously south, Wimbledon, Wandsworth, on the river. And as we were about to stop, Mario turned to me and said, what a great night. See you at the club, mate? And he meant the tennis club. And I said, yeah, we did have a great night. Much for this Saturday, will be a recovery day, but Sunday I'll see you down at the social tennis, which we did. Now, I hadn't seen Adele after proper, drawing a line. So I arrived at 2:00 and started to play a little set when Mario's Aston Martin convertible turned up in the car park. And there was a little time lapse, and Mario and Adele arrived in exactly the same way as they always did. No difference, no fucking. They was as happy and apparently warm with each other as ever. And this time, Adele joined me for a social tennis partner, and Mario on the other side with another player. It felt a bit awkward and a bit of a relief to play at the games. This was, let's say, the first time I saw Adele and the last. Because after that, I gave up on Wimbledon Club and my love of tennis. And how appropriate then, as I mentioned at the beginning of this story, to tell this episode of my tale, my true story, on the first day of Wimbledon, 2025. Listen in to each episode as I engage you in my personal journey of how a boy growing up on a council estate in Essex would eventually own the most exclusive online private members club in the world.